Well, hello again, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, kids and kiddos, cardboard crawlers of all scales. We are in the outdoor amphitheater today, and this is just a little video. We're starting out testing this rig in its quote-unquote stock format. This rig right here, as it sits, with the parts that are on it, it has a Grizzly Works LCG chassis kit, a Purple Pro Endura motor. It's got Endura wheels, Endura brass inside those wheels, some As Designs beadlock rings on there, an Emax servo, and that's about it. Running stock links, running stock shocks. And this was a rig that I built last year during the winter while I was out in California. We built this for one of my workmates, and then I just bought it back from him at the end of the season. And what we're getting ready to do is put a new chassis, motor, and servo in this rig. We're going to set it up on my first ever Mofo chassis. So it's going to be put onto an ugly AF version 3 aluminum railed chassis with a 4100 kV nano BAM in it, a servo beast up front, a Rockwolf ESC, and all of that was sent out to me by Nick from Mofo. And big shout out to Nick and the guys at Mofo for sending me those parts to do a little review on. I really do love the way this rig runs as it is now. Oh, it does have also just a kind of generic metal steering link that I had from a set of another set of axles that I had used. I just threw that on there. I don't even count that in the price. So this rig, as it sits, is about $220 if you were going to just go buy these parts and put them on it. You know, Grizzly Works LCG kit's really cheap at like 11 or 13 bucks. Wheels and tires, probably the most expensive upgrade on here because of the brass rings you bought separate, and the titanium beadlock rings are 20 bucks. So that's a beauty cost. I don't know that it really gives it any performance upgrade. I don't know if that's a performance upgrade, but it sure is beautiful. So we run them on just about everything we have. And an Emax is pretty cheap. So like I said, this rig as it sits about $220 with the motor, servo, wheels and tires upgrade, and it got a servo tray, of course. Just a Endura servo tray. You can get those Emax kits. You know, they come with a tray and a servo for like 20 bucks. Anyway, so if you count the cost of the rig and the cost of the upgrades, this dude's sitting at about $220. So it's not bad for what you're looking at. It's a fun rig. It's on a version 2 controller, version 2 ESC. Like I said, Purple Pro Endura motor, rear facing. So not real hard to do this upgrade. It takes, I don't know, maybe a couple hours if you're sitting around jaw jacking and talking to your buddy while you're putting parts on this rig. The shocks are mounted in a different location than normal. I'm not really taking advantage of those. If I had longer shocks, I'd put them up onto the Grizzly Works chassis kit there and change it a little bit. We're running stock drive lines, stock links, all that. We just have the kit in there, the LCG kit in there to put the battery up front and the ESC in the rear. No bumpers. I don't run bumpers on most of my rigs. I find that they just kind of hang down and get in the way. I'm not a big lights guy, so I don't really, it's not my big thing. So there's the Mofo kit that Nick sent me. Big shout out to him. Thanks so much. It's super fun to get parts in the mail that you weren't expecting. I ordered something else that was very nominal cost, and he sent all this cool stuff. So sent a the servo bees, the front forward facing mount, and a nano bam, and I figured that's a 4100 because it comes with a steel pinion on it. And then a servo beast. Man, what a great little servo. Cool design. They're beautiful little servos. I really like the rounded ears on it. And a Rockwolf ESC with the configuration tool. I didn't need to use the tool. I'd say that that's one drawback of the Rockwolf ESC is that, you know, I have a couple of brushless setups that have the Fury Tech on it, and it sure is nice to be able to change things on the app on your phone. It's so simple, so easy, and I'm not super computer oriented, I guess you would say, super computer literate, so I don't know how easy it is or not easy it is to change the configuration. So there's the first look at the chassis just kind of stuck together. I had a stock skid plate and I threw it in there. That's pretty much all you need. I couldn't run it forward facing and not hit the battery tray. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong out there. Nick, Rockwolf, any of you guys that might watch this, I couldn't run it there. I did put some Alec Tech expandable sleeve on the motor wires just to pretty it up a little bit. This is the old chassis, and this is another look at the new chassis. Just, you know, easy enough to swap. I didn't take the shocks or the links off of the axles. I just, you know, swapped them out into place. That rear bar on there is just sitting there. The one thing I did do, I did change out those upper links in the front. I had some laying around, and this is we're putting this on the JLU, so it's JLU C10 length. And there's the best servo mount ever. I ended up changing those back to the front, the forward part of the mount, because I found that I was running into my battery or / battery tray. This is what one of these looks like on his page, and I can't get my motor to sit down low enough to put that tray in that upper position. So once again, you know, shout out to you guys. Tell me if I'm doing something wrong here. I was going to use these little aluminum mounts and the stock cross mount, but it was kind of bowing up and I didn't really like the look. So I end up changing it and I did something a little different. This is the final configuration right here. It's all built. Shout out to Denny at Super One Handed. Love the sticker. Threw that on as a little visor sticker there. A little, you know, sunny outside today. So I used a Maz Designs. It's a rear magnet mount right there in the front. You can see single magnet mount. And I used that up front. And I didn't use the Mofo battery tray. I just used two aluminum crossbars to mount the battery to in that spot. And I had to double stack a magnet on there. I didn't have a taller magnet. So I double stacked it, and then that ended up lining up perfectly. And then there it is. It's all in there, nice and smooth. I'm running just the GT5 receiver in there, just the stock one that comes with the 6-channel. I got it velcroed down to that little battery or that little tray there, and then I velcroed the Rockwolf next to it, and everything seems to be looking pretty good. So if you're looking to upgrade to this rig, if you had to buy a stock rig and then build it, including the wheels and tires, obviously no shocks, no links, but if you were going to buy these parts from Mofo, I think that then this rig would be up around the $320, $325. If you got the V3 frame or the V3 chassis on sale, you could probably drop that number to about $300. But then you're coming back and, you know, I didn't count the price of my GT5 controller. So, you know, if you had to go, if you didn't have an upgraded controller and you were trying to get into this brushless system, you would have to get one. So, you know, so let's say we get it at 300 and then we have to buy a controller. You know, the truck and the parts around 3, the controller's around 60. You might get one for 50, so call it 350. So, you know, I don't know. I really like the way the truck worked before. I do love the Nano BAM and the Servo Beast. I think they work great. That's a really awesome upgrade for sure. I'm not necessarily super fond of this chassis, unfortunately. I ran into a couple issues. Number one, it doesn't come with a way to mount to the front. There's no front mount. So I had to, like I said, I used a Maz mount that I had laying around. I tried a couple of different things and nothing seemed to work right. The Maz mount went in there, generally speaking, okay. It lined up really well. So it's unfortunate that it doesn't come with a mount. And I didn't like the fact that in the pictures, first of all, it says it's a forward-facing Nano, and I couldn't get it to go forward-facing on a stock motor mount or it's the stock skid plate. So I spun my skid plate around, and then the motor sits in there properly, and then it just faces rearward. So it works okay, and it's balanced pretty good. I did have a couple of rollover issues, but, you know, just sometimes driving, you know, you just get in those spots and it rolls over. It did self-recover a couple of times, and you know, has good crawlability. I really like the way the Nano BAM works. I like the way that, you know, obviously brushless systems are really sweet to have, and my GT5 works really well with that. And the fact that the Rockwolf comes set up to run one of these Nano BAM motors is nice. You just plug and play. You don't have to really think about anything. But if you were running it with a different motor, don't be fooled into thinking you can just buy the Rockwolf. You know, you'll have to have the little programmer plug it into your computer. And let me know, guys, if you can plug it into an iPad instead of a computer. Can you non-PC it? Will it go to an iPad? I think it's a USB-C. So, I don't know, maybe Nick, if you're out there watching this at all, let me know. It'd be nice to know if I could configure those with an iPad, not with a PC. So there you can see I did a little self-recovery there, just had a little flop over. You know, but I'm putting it through its paces and trying some nice hard lines, and here's some good wiggle, jiggle with the Servo Beast. I really like that servo. I didn't put my metal servo horn on there. I may change it to my metal servo horn. I may not. I'm not positive what I'm going to do there. I'm not positive that I'm going to keep this Jeep in this configuration. It's fun to drive for now, and we'll just see how we go. At first, I was really disappointed about how, honestly, the wheelbase lines up funny. You see how the rear axle sits forward? Well, I mean, both axles sit forward in the wheel wells. So it's kind of got it's almost like it's a millimeter too long in the back, because you just mount it to the stock way you would mount it to a stock set of rails, and the body just kind of sits back. It gives you good approach angle. I'll give it that. I had good approach angle before because of these 58 millimeter tires on here, but it improved it a little bit. But it sits that rear wheel kind of weird in the wheel well, and I just wasn't super stoked on that. But overall, you know, I'll give it let's give it a B rating.
for improvements, you know, and cost effectiveness. I think it's nice. It's fun to drive. I like the Nano Band. That's for sure. It's a good driving motor, and I do love that. The servo. So and I'm used to running high powered servos. I run the NSDRC RS100s and just about everything else that I have. So I'm used to a good servo, and this is definitely up there with that. It's got a different sized gear on the front, so you do have to make sure that, you know, you have. I modified his white horn. You know, I cut him down a little bit and round off the bottom, make them nice and shorties. And then his metal one that comes with it, if you bought the kit, it comes with it. So he sells it. It's a decent kit for $55. You get a servo horn, you get a servo tray, you get a really nice servo. I think it's well worth that. Like, if you were looking to upgrade servos, a Servo Beast is probably your way to go. I ran this line twice. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to do some more of this stuff. If people want to send me some parts, I'd love to check them out and build something different. And appreciate all of you who are watching and continue to support the channel. Thank you so much. I know I haven't been doing much lately, but we'll try to do more. Once again, Cardboard Crawlers, out.